Alright, let's look at those scary fractions of ours. Not so scary. Let's give this a chance. So, how do we simplify a fraction to start with? To simplify a fraction, we just look at the number on top and the bottom, and we try to figure out if there's a number that we can divide both of them by. So 6 and 15, what can we divide it by? We can divide it by 3. What's 3? 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So this is the same as 2 over 5. What about 8 and 28? They cannot be both divided by 8, but they can be divided by 4. So if I divide this by 4, this is equal to 2, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. Therefore, this is equal to 2 over 7. That's how you simplify a fraction. So what about multiplying a fraction? Okay, multiplying, there's two ways. I'm going to show you the long way first, which I do not want you to do this. You multiply directly on the same level. So 8 times 3 is 24, and 9 times 16, pull out the calculator, and 9 times 16 is equal to 144. Now we need to reduce this fraction because that seems to be able to be reduced. So I don't know, let's divide it by 2. So if I divide both by 2, 24 by 2 is 12. And 144, 140, 70, and that's 2, so it's 72. But that can still be reduced, probably by 6. So if I say 12 divided by 6, that's 2. And 72 divided by 6, well, 60 would be 10, and 12 is 2. So say 12. And now this one is easy. I can divide both by 2, and it's 1 over 6. And we get with this answer. We get to this answer is 1 divided by 6. Now, you may have realized that you could divide both of them by 24 and jump right over. But here's the better way of doing this. When you have things that are multiplying and dividing, like this 4 numbers, you can change the order because of BEDMAS. So I'm going to say, what is 8 divided by 16? I can simplify it. I can divide both this by 8, and that would be a 1, and that would be a 2. And I can simplify this and this, dividing them by 3. So that's 1, and that's 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And therefore, now I can multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 2 is 6. And we get the same answer, but a lot faster and with much smaller numbers. Okay, so let's go on to division. Dividing is just like multiplying, except that we need to, the fraction that's dividing, we need to get the reciprocal. So we just turn it upside down. 1 times 7 over 5. See, this is the one that went at the reciprocal because that's the one that's dividing. This is not dividing. So now, we always check is there anything that can simplify, and the 10 and the 5 can simplify by dividing them by 5. And in this case also, the 7 and 21 can be divided both by 7, and therefore I could simplify it, and now I can just multiply across, and that's 2 divided by 3. What about this? Well, it's dividing, so I'm going to take the reciprocal of 18 over 11. So 6 over 7 times 11 over 18. I check to see if there's anything that can be simplified, and yeah, the 6 and the 18 can be simplified. If I divide both of them by 6, I'm going to get 1 and 3. The 7 and the 11 cannot be simplified, so that's as far as I can go. Equal 1 times 11 is 11. 7 times 3 is 21. And that's my final answer. So now we've taken care of multiplying and dividing. Let's go to the hard ones, the adding and subtracting. Well, not really that big a deal. So let's see. How do you get common denominator? So to get common denominator, we need to find a number, the smallest number in which both 3 and 5 can go into. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to check the bigger number, and we're going to see the small one goes in. 3 doesn't go into 5, so I'm going to multiply this by 2. 3 does not go into 10, so I multiply by 3. 3 goes into 15, therefore my common factor is going to be 15. And I'll take care of that underneath. So 4 goes into 8. This is my biggest number. 4 goes into 8, and therefore 8 will be my common denominator. And now 6 is my big one. 4 doesn't go into 6, so 6 times 2 is 12. 4 goes into 12, so therefore 12 is the smallest number that both 4 and 6 can go. That makes sense, right? So to get the common denominator, after we get the common denominator, we just add or subtract the numerators, the numbers on top. What do I mean by this? Well, what's common between 3 and 5? We already figured out that would be 15. So I'm going to rewrite something as 15 for both of them. And my answer is going to be over 15. So if the bottom how does 3 go into 15? I multiplied it by 5. So the top has to get multiplied by 5 too. And 2 times 5 is 10. 5, how does it go to 15? Well, 5 times 3. So the top 1 times 3 is equal to 3. And now that we have them, we just add them together. 10 plus 3 is equal to 13 over 15. What about a subtraction? Same idea. First I had to get common denominator. And then, okay, so what's common between 3 and 6? Well, 3 goes into 6, so therefore 6 is what I'm looking for. 3 goes to 6 multiplied by 2. So I gotta multiply the top by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 6 goes into 6 by multiplying by 1, so 3 times 1 is equal to 3. And I got 4 6 minus 3 6, so 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. So let's do a hard example, if you want to call it. There's 3 things. So now I'm going to need to have 3 things that have common denominator 2, 8, and 4. So there's this big one. Does 2 go into 8? Yes. Does 4 go into 8? Yes. So my common denominator is 8. My answer would be something with 8. So 2 goes to 8 by multiplying by 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 goes into 8 by 1, so that's just the same thing, so 3. 4 becomes 8 by multiplying by 2, so 1 times 2 is 2. So now I just look at the numerators. 8 minus 3 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7. That's my answer, 7/8. So that wasn't so bad, was it?